Good afternoon to you. Today, the Security Council held consultations on Sudan and South Sudan. The Council was briefed on the current state of negotiations between the two parties, the two countries, by Special Envoy Makarios, and he spoke to us via a video link from Addis Ababa. Let me remind you that the two parties had agreed on oil-related issues back in August. Now they still have to deliver, as you know, on a number of critical issues. They include the demarcation of border, the establishment of a safe demilitarized border zone, the activation of the joint border verification and monitoring mechanism, the status of nationals, temporary security and administrative arrangements in Abyei, and of course agreeing on the final status of Abyei. Last Friday, you might remember, the Council agreed on a presidential statement regretting these delays. It urged both Sudan and South Sudan to fully implement existing and pending agreements on all remaining issues. Today, Council members reiterated their support for Mr. Makarios and President Mbeki as the chairman of the African Union High-Level Implementation Panel for their ongoing efforts. Council members regretted that Sudan and South Sudan have failed to reach agreement by the deadline of 2nd of August, but they equally expressed hope that the recent negotiation efforts will result in substantive progress. Several Council members raised the issue of the humanitarian crisis in the two areas in South Kordofan and the Blue Nile states. They urged, as did Mr. Makarios, the parties to accept and implement the tripartite proposal. That's the proposal by the UN, the African Union, and the Arab League. Council members shared the view that the suffering of the people in South Kordofan and Blue Nile requires that both sides act with a sense of urgency, and both parties should not allow technicalities to stand in the way of delivering meaningful aid to those in need. That is what I have to say on today's meeting.
Mr. Ambassador, did Mr. Makarios give any indication of whether he expected that the new deadline later in September will be met, because there certainly are a tremendous number of outstanding issues still?
He enumerated and gave us an overview of the outstanding issues, and he certainly drove home the message of urgency that the two sides need to come to an agreement on a couple of outstanding issues. And he pointed to the end of the timeline, the 22nd, and he appealed, as we did, the Council members, to the parties to do their utmost to find a solution within that timeline. So there's a great awareness that there's not much time left, but at the same time a hope that the parties realize that the time is running out, and they know, the parties, that the timeline is coming to a close, and the Security Council and of course the African Union have expressed a strong interest and indicated that if the parties don't meet the timelines, there might be pressure being put on them.
I wanted to ask about the two areas, Southern Kordofan and Blue Nile. seems like the government of Sudan on the humanitarian front has said it's unwilling to have aid delivered from the south or by air. They've said everything has to go through El Obeid. And I'm wondering, you were saying that some members urged them to implement the proposal. Has any aid gotten through, and does the council think that politics or a desire to have it only go in by land to groups that they specify is actually getting in the way of delivering aid to those areas?
I think there was an awareness that this is an acute crisis, and Mr. Makarios drove home a message, I think, to us and, of course, to the parties that all concerned should not view this humanitarian crisis in terms of a technical process of negotiation. Of course, I think everybody wants that this tripartite agreement be implemented, be accepted. But what is needed is access to the people in need, and I think there's a general awareness of that need, and this was the message of Mr. Makarios. Thank you.